There you are.
Hello, Benny.
Hey, Randall, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm very well, thank you, and welcome to your interview.
Thanks. What's going on? How's life in the Niagara Falls lane?
It's very well. How's life treating you?
Good. I mean, just finished 2 days of high school track meet, so that was a lot of fun.
I miss those days.
Yeah. It's fun, but it's a lot of stress. As the coach, it's easier to be the athlete than it is to be the coach.
I think you're right about that.
So what's up?
Well, I thought I'd ask you a few questions, and you can take them in any direction you want. First of all, what got you into running?
Oh, geez. As a kid, basically running away from the bullies because I was really small. And it turned out in our neighborhood, I was actually pretty fast. And then it turned out in Hamilton, I was really fast. So I just kept running.
Very nice.
I went to a high school that was really, really good at running. It's called Bishop Bryan, who cares? But they were great coach. When you learn how to run, it's so much easier to run.
Well, sounds like you really took it seriously.
Yeah, I got lucky. I was part of a team that won provincials. Several guys on the team that I was a part of won provincial titles individually, as well as being part of our cross country team and other things that we were doing. But I got to go to nationals as a high school athlete at club level, and meeting all of these future Olympians like Ben Johnson, and it was really cool, and they were so nice. Like, these future Olympians were pretty cool people.
So, tell me, what got you into coaching?
Well, I was selling shoes for another company downtown here in St. Catharines, and a couple of ladies asked me running questions, and I gave them answers. So this would have been in 89, 90, somewhere around there. And I'd always given lots of running tips before that. And they said, could you pace us, coach us through what was back then the 10 miler, the old Run for the Grapes 10 miler. And so we did. I helped them and trained them through it. And the next thing I know, I've got 20, 30 adults wanting me to help them. And then one day, Mr. Hinton at Sir Winston Churchill took sick. And he calls me and he says, you think you could cover a Tuesday for me at the school, like help the kids? They'll meet you at Burgoyne Woods, and they'll meet you over there, on your lunch or your dinner, and if you could coach them through the workout, here's the workout. And what was one day turned out to be, 25 or so years later. And here I am. But I still coach adults, I still coach kids, and my wife and I, we have the running store here in St. Catharines, as you know. We coach 120 to 130 people at the moment, in person here at the store or at school, or different variety of venues that we attend.
Well, you do it very well from all that I'm told. And you keep it fun.
We try. Yeah. We try. Most important, I train everybody. It doesn't matter if you're 7 years old or 70 years old as an elite Canadian athlete. As elite Canadian athletes, there's certain things they do. If you follow some of them, their warm up, their cool down, their stretching routine. So we incorporate a lot of that into our everyday running. Saves a lot of injuries.
Well, how exactly is it, Benny, that you came to start Runner's Edge? I'm sure that's something a lot of people are wondering.
Well, when I was 16, I worked for a place we called affectionately Disaster Sports, but it was actually McMaster Sports. It was right across from the university, and three good friends of mine owned the company, and one of them was my neighbor Bruce, and I was a lawn cutter doing garbage kind of detail for him. And one day he said, could you help me out with some stock work? And I was already a local runner at that point, and I helped him with some stock work. And somebody asked a running question, I answered and put people in shoes. And he's just like, I was only making $1 an hour, right? Just doing, he said, "You sell like that, I'm going to give you $3.85 an hour," and started selling running shoes. Now the funny thing is, I liked Bruce's lifestyle. He was home every night. He was working with runners. He was always happy. He was never working. He was always where, you know. And I said, I want that life. I don't want to do that. So I wanted to own the Runner's Edge. And a good friend of mine, he passed away in Hamilton, opened the original Runner's Edge. When we were kids, he was joking with us all. We gave him some tip on what he should call the Runner's Edge. And he did use the word Runner's Edge. And so I reached out to his widow, and she was so thrilled. Back in 2003, we changed the name from Runner's Choice to Runner's Edge. Because Runner's Choice was owned by a few friends of mine. We needed a franchise to open up because the local business here was trying to keep me from opening. So we opened a franchise, and you can't say no to a franchise. So yeah, worked out really well.
I never knew there was a Runner's Edge before your store.
Yeah, back in Hamilton, Westdale, the gentleman who owned it, unfortunately passed away from cancer, but he was a good friend, and I thought, what a great way to pay tribute to him when it was time to change the name of the store. And we reached out. I had some partners. My buddy Dave reached out to a good friend of ours in Rochester. He's a professor at Rochester Tech in graphics design. And the design you kind of see over my shoulder right here, that E, he created it, and it only cost me a pair of running shoes.
Sounds like a fair deal.
Yeah, I thought so.
So tell me, what's your favorite memory to do with running?
Oh, well, there are two really significant ones. One is I've had the privilege of running the Boston Marathon numerous times, but back in the day, they used to have this friendship run, and they decided to make it into a 5K event. So Leslie, my wife, and I volunteered at the finish area of the 5K the day before the marathon. And so we're handing out medals over people's necks. And who walks up? Bill Rogers. I get to put a medal around Bill Rogers' neck for his participating in a fun 5K. It was pretty cool. Unfortunately, later I got to meet him again just a few years ago at a expo, and it's slowed down a little bit, but I got to get some pictures with him and have some questions for him. And he just still, you know, even though he's losing his mind a little bit, sharp as a whip when it came to memories of the, 1980, which is where this was going. And that is the US marathon trials were on the course that you guys are about to run.
I remember.
Yeah, I was just a little fart on a bike, and it was so cool. Alberto Salazar, Beardsley, all the top runners. Sorry. So it was on it was called the Skyline Marathon back then. It wasn't called the Niagara Falls, but it's the same course, exactly the same course. And they couldn't change it. It's on the Parkway. And it finishes at the Falls. And it was so cool as a kid because that was the only way you could get around, right? All the roads are closed off. They didn't even have water stations back then. So what everybody's getting today at this marathon is considered to be huge compared to what it was back then. It was, I don't even think we actually drank water when I did the Round the Bay, in 1979. I don't think we drank water. I think it was, taboo. But now it's like, every mile, you got all these kids out there handing water. You've got the YMCA. I don't know if they're still are able to, because of course the YMCA went through what they went through. But at every water station, Meyer would have their band, Stanford would have their cheerleaders, and so on and so on. And we used to have a water station, and we put up our tent, and we all dressed up as the Flintstones, and it was a lot of fun. We'll do it again this year, no doubt. We'll be doing a water station because they haven't reached out yet, but I'm sure there'll be some new protocols. I believe we did it the last marathon at mile 18 because we wanted to see both races, the half marathon and the marathon, at the time, the way they had done designed the courses back then.
Well, you've had quite a career.
Seeing those guys, unbelievable. Just wow. And back then I could run a pretty good 5 mile. That was pretty good. They ran to 5 miles faster than I could run a mile in a marathon. Oh my word. They were amazing.
Sorry, I don't see anything.
You've had quite a career, Benny.
Yeah, it's been fun.
So I think one thing we're all wondering is, what are your plans for the future? Do you intend to keep being involved with running?
Well, I can't run myself. I have screws, pins, and plates holding my foot and leg together. My wonderful dog Wookie saved my bacon from my pit bull that attacked me on the trail, but he did the damage already. So walking without pain is my future goal, personally. But right now, I love coaching. I coach at Sir Winston. We have the third winningest. I love saying this. Sorry, third winningest cross country program in Ontario. We have the most decorated cross-country program in Ontario history, though, because we've won more top 10s than any team in history. Just we're number 3 for firsts. So I'll be still continuing that. And adults, as long as they're trusting me, I'm going to keep trying. And I keep learning. I'm smart enough to know I'm not that smart. So I learn from every coach and every athlete I come in contact with. Everybody's got something to share. Everybody's got a little tip.
Hello, I'm Matt Runner's Head. There are bottles I'm going to order you some new ones.
If I gave any advice to all of your people, the most important thing is fuel, nutrition, and fluids on the course. Like, be really smart, because it can be, we've been on that course at 10 degrees Celsius and 35 degrees Celsius. So prepare for both.
Well, I think we're about wrapped up, but before we go, I think I'd just like to ask, do you have any words of motivation for the runners in this coming year at Niagara Falls?
Yeah. I know that there are a lot of races where you go there to go for personal best, but sometimes personal fun is more important. There are many great opportunities to take pictures. We ran across the bridge one year and we stopped and took pictures with the police. We were on the bridge. So right in the middle of between America and Canada, we had a hoot. And then that river is just gorgeous. So all kinds of different opportunities to take pictures. We took every picture. So just take it all in. Enjoy the race. Enjoy the run. It is a beautiful course. And here's one for you. Run the hypotenuse, because if you run the snake, because the way the course is, you will run between 1 and 5 kilometers further than your race of 21 or 42 kilometers. Because the roads are like this, and if you cut the hypotenuse.
Well,
Is with me?
Pardon me? Yes. Well, thank you, Benny, and we look forward to seeing you in the coming year, and I hope we'll see you at the course this year.
Awesome. Thanks for the call, Randall.
And thank you for helping us. Have a good day.
He's cute.